Yes. Hey, welcome to the Ardhi Real Estate Podcast, where Ardhi stands for land and earth, and that's what we're all about. We have a great show for you guys today. This is episode 33. And Candace, what are we talking about today?
Hey guys, we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff, mainly market value versus like property value. We're going to talk about celebrities and their insane real estate purchases. We got all kinds of stuff we're going to be talking about tonight, guys.
And buying houses in the summertime.
Yes, I drew a blank.
How can you prep for that? Don't tell people. They could have thought that was on purpose.
That's okay. I like to be real.
Oh, man. We have a great panel for you guys today. We have the home team here. And if you guys didn't know, my name is Ryan Fagan, soon to be broker of record for Ardhi Real Estate in New Jersey. And I identify as a strong chocolate man while it's summertime. Okay. I wore this shirt to emphasize my tan and my color.
Sickness.
See, my upper arm is a little yellow, a little butter pecan. But if you see here the forearm, which you see this definition that's coming up. And in the gym, I did arms today. I'm just saying. By the end of the summertime, you're gonna be like, "Who is this guy?"
Idris Elba.
It just began. So we have a great home team. Our co-host here, Candace the Realtor. Pew pew pew. Come on, hey, let's fix your camera. Oh God, I'm messing her camera up.
What is going on
Don't
tonight?
pay attention.
I can't. Let's just not let Ryan talk for extended periods of time, especially when he begins to talk about his skin complexion, because
I'm chocolate.
we're trying to be honest and real with our guy, because we genuinely care about him and we don't want him to lie to himself, guys. But he just out here telling fibs and everything. Telling stories.
This is the year I'm gonna be chocolate.
I have faith in you. I have very limited faith in you.
In the world of Hershey Kisses, you're Werther's.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
Guys, in the comments, do you think I can be chocolate? Am I chocolate now?
Where's Ebony?
I'm real close, at least.
Tina, one of y'all.
Somebody.
I'm close to being chocolate. No?
Oh my God.
Anyway, we got the home team. Drew, PRMI. He says don't say mortgage, but I always say PRMI. Mortgage.
What's up?
Branch manager, Sewell, New Jersey.
What's going on? How y'all doing?
You get the monies and stuff from this.
All
guy
the
over here.
funds.
That's
Yes.
it. And apparently the best burgers ever. Can we please take a moment for the burgers and the mac and cheese?
Hold on. Wait. We'll tell the people. We'll give the people the update. Don't do it yet. And we have another Ardhi real estate agent, Kaylin Williams. Let's go. Ebony said white chocolate. Oh, that's blasphemy.
I love her. I swear on everything. I love her.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. I can't complain. We had a great event on Friday.
I know we're going to talk about it. It's going to be so fun.
I'm
Did you
feeling
eat the
good.
mac and cheese?
I did, and it was good. I was the one that asked for the next day for leftovers.
You should have took the plate, because I took the plate and I ate a lot of it.
I should have. I've really been thinking about it, but the next event, Drew.
I'm making some more this weekend. I'll bring you.
Oh God. Oh God.
Oh my gosh.
It's Memorial Day weekend.
He's not
Be
just a
busy.
loan officer.
Okay.
We're all gonna be 5 pounds bigger next week, guys.
Oh,
all of us. Y'all gonna be like, they got a little plump.
Wait, Case, how's your mental health? How's it going?
It's good.
Is it good? Shout out to Kevin Samuels. We need him back in our lives.
Wait a minute.
What?
RIP. How we getting him back?
He was talking. I don't know. That's one of the jobs. Ebony, I am not white chocolate. Look, come on. Look at the lighting. Like, even on a shiny spot, I'm still a little chocolate. Look, the top of my head, that's at least chocolate. Ebony, hey family, those burgers were straight from Jesus's fingers. So guys, what we're talking about, if you didn't know, is we had the first Ardhi real estate mixer here at the house, and
It was a vibe. That's
Yeah,
it.
but we created the right energy. I was really happy about that. I appreciated everybody's feedback. Thank everyone who came for coming. If you didn't come, you missed out. But we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do some more stuff.
On the back.
But Drew was cooking for real, for real. I don't know what else to say. It was just really good.
Like
I
all
ran
the
out of funny
food.
things.
Everybody's
Listen.
like, "Who made this?" I'm like, "Drew." And who made this? Drew. Like, and he do the loans too. Yeah, like just go over there and get you a loan at a burger.
Drew was hot. He was sweating. They're like, wait, he does loans?
Yes,
Mhm.
like he's flipping burgers and flipping these loans.
Mm.
My guy.
I write loans and I cook things.
There you go.
So the first Beyond sausage. So guys, I don't eat meat. I'm vegetarian. I know that's a little light skin of me, but I'm still chocolate. I highly recommend the Beyond sausage. I think it's better than regular sausage. But I must say, if you let them cool off, they're not good. So be
I like
careful.
this.
Be
Yeah.
careful.
I feel like all those Beyond burgers
They
and
do
meat
not
stuff,
age.
you gotta eat it hot
Right away.
because after it is cold,
I still ate
So-
it though.
Oh, God.
I'm a savage. I
Whoa
was in the
there.
military, so
Whoa there. Whoa
I
there.
ate
Whoa there.
MRE number 4, which is the egg omelet thing, and that's real disgusting. If you ever know. I knew what number it was because I'd never wanted to get it.
I'm glad you survived.
I
it.
was about to say it sounds damaging.
Yeah.
I'm very
Drew,
sorry.
Drew, can you share with the people something that people don't know about you, other than you are a fantastic chef?
I'm a fantastic chef. I am a singer, musician.
Hey,
I
like this right here.
do swimming pools. I like to eat, as you can
I said
see.
one thing, damn it. You know,
I just ran down the gamut. You know, while I'm on the mic, I gotta stay on the mic.
We just talk
I
about
just
that.
You know, we was talking about mental health, so I figured I'd go in. Yeah.
No, we just asked Kay about her mental health. Oh, all right, I'm sorry. No
Right
marking
after-
up. No
right
mar-
after you go on this long rant about your non-existent chocolate skin complexion.
I'm hurt. Then what is my complexion?
Emotional.
We told
damn it.
you.
You can't say I'm caramel because I
You're
got
like
You're
a
not.
pecan.
You're
A
like butter.
pecan.
Yes.
butterscotch.
Like a toasted almond. The
Yeah.
bottom half of the crumpet
Toasted
that I showed
almond
you.
sounds good.
I showed you. I
Halfway.
said you used to be the top side of my butterscotch crumpet.
How
and
about
now
a
you're the
toasted
bottom.
coffee bean?
No,
Uh,
they're black.
Yep.
You tried
You
it.
still trying to get back to chocolate?
You tried it, but no.
Can I be latte?
Just you. This coffee in here is you.
Oh God, we're having too much fun. Oh my goodness.
Think caramel macchiato.
That's all you get.
Oh, Ebony said, "Nah, Drew was not cooking. He was creating masterpieces." Ryan,
Appreciate you.
I'm sorry, you will never make it to Denzel's color. So for damn sure, not what. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't. I'm not going for Denzel, but can I go for?
Please
What
say
about
somebody that's
whiskey?
not
You could be
chocolate.
like whiskey.
Oh, I like that.
You could be whiskey.
I got whiskey skin color.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for whiskey.
There you go.
Can I be as dark as Jay-Z? I'm almost there. Jay-Z ain't that dark, right?
Jay-Z chocolate.
The nigga was
And
like,
you will never be. And we're gonna leave it at that. I'm sick of this
All
man.
right, all right. So speaking of Jay-Z,
Oh man.
go ahead, Candace. What Beyonce do?
There's so much talk, guys. At least in the real estate world, maybe more of like the black real estate world, but they purchased a $200 million home,
God damn.
which is record breaking. It's the most expensive home that's been sold in California history, and the
Ooh,
second most expensive in US history. And the only other house was like 237 million for some kind of New York
Whoa there.
apartment. Who is spending $237 million on an apartment? Somebody with way too much money. So I kind of wanted to talk about that just a little bit, because, and I think it's gonna like get into the topics about like market value and things like that, because Ryan and I were talking earlier, and I'm like, does the way that we look at properties change once you get to a certain price point, or like once you make it to a certain tax bracket or like a certain like income level? Do we look at purchases like this differently, because I noticed that when we talk to our first time home buyers or people buying in like more of like your everyday, I would say maybe like, let's just say like $1 million and under, maybe even 500,000 and under.
Oh, Kevin coming
And,
on there.
right. Oh my God. But just your everyday real estate budget, I feel like we look at purchasing property as an investment, right? We take into consideration like the resale value later on. Ryan even talks about all the time how he'll go in people's houses and it's like colorless, like people are too afraid to show their personalities. They don't want to do too much to a home, and it's not because they don't want to do these things to their home, but it's because they're thinking down the line, I'm going to want to resell this home. And so, I'm limited on what I can do. But then you have on the other side of things, these million and billionaires who are buying homes and they don't care about the price. They don't care what they change to it. Like they have the money, so they spend it. So I was kind of curious to see what you guys thought, what the viewers thought. Do you think that value is like subjective? Does it change once you get to a certain price point? Because some of these celebrities, like the houses that they're buying, I'm like, is any house worth $200 million? Oh yeah, go
Let
ahead.
me go. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say one thing this time. No, but so I feel like when you get to a certain price point, the value that you hold in things are different. Like some people like, oh, I want a patio, and oh, I want a pool in my backyard. And then people that are $1 million and above, they invest in the art of the house. They invest in the things, the utility of the house. Can I host parties here? Can I what is it going to look like to the media? Am I going to use this property here as a shooting space, or like Rick Ross, they were saying like he rents out his mansion for movies and stuff like that. Am I going to use it to invest and stuff like that? So
lemon pepper,
yeah. Shout out Wingstop. But I think that the value that we hold in things at different price points are again for different value. People again $1 million and lower are looking at the physical use and the investment of the house. The people $1 million and above, they're more so looking at the utility of the house and their output, to the outer world. Unless again you're just a really older person, or it's a family estate or something like that, and you just want to have that astute look to your, and have that, I won't say uptight, but like that regal look to your property and everything like that. But again, most celebrities and everything like that, it's got to have a utility.
What you think, Kay?
I like Drew's answer. I do, but then I think about, when I see
She didn't like it
online.
Yeah, he was cool and all.
I just think about when I see abandoned mansions, like if it was for either of those things, like whether it be utility or like an actual purpose, then like why is it sitting? Like why is it empty? I think that
they're not willing
I
to sell
remember
it.
I think I saw a clip of it was Birdman's mansion. It's been sitting for so long and it's empty, but it's like I'm pretty sure he put something in it because he needed it for music videos, like Drew was saying, and so many different other things. But now just looking at it, so I don't know. I'm in between what both of you guys are saying right now.
I think when first of all, the rich people so rich they don't know what to do with their money. So that's why we're seeing the middle class of car price is going way up to buy a car, but rich people are buying luxury cars at a super high rate, and people are buying new cars like regular cars at a much lower rate. So we're seeing like the barbell economy, right? So on the extremes, they're at a different location. So rich people are just like, that's why like artwork and baseball cards and alternative investments are way up, because rich people are buying all that kind of stuff because they have all this extra income. So why not splurge on a house? For example, I'm not in that boat yet, but like this house that I have here, I don't plan on selling, so I kind of don't care about the resale value of it. So it's way overbuilt. I have an outdoor kitchen and all that kind of stuff, which I don't think you would get the best ROI on investment or like versus like doing other upgrades to your house the way I did my kitchen. I spent an extra premium on things that you probably aren't going to get back in this neighborhood, but I don't care because I'm trying to enjoy it. And I think that's once you get to a certain level of money, you don't really care about the reinvestment, which makes me sad, right? Because to what Candace was saying, like people buy a house and then they're scared to like express themselves or really customize the house to what they like because they're thinking about selling it at some point. So you're like, it's almost like an apartment because you don't really want to do anything to the house because you want to preserve the market value by making it appealing to the most people. And there's something a little sad about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sorry, ladies first.
I was going to say maybe, and it kind of overlaps with the home affordability conversation because we work with so many first-time home buyers and they always come and tell us, like, and I'm sure Kay can relate, they'll tell us like, oh, okay, well, like this is just a stepping stone. This is just my first home purchase. You know, I don't plan to be here longer than like 3 to 5 years. And so when you go into a situation where that's in the back of your mind, I feel like, and it kind of piggybacks off of what you just said, it does make it difficult to kind of do all the things that you want to do because you don't know how much longer you're going to live there. And I almost wonder if the difference between, you know, the average person buying real estate and someone who, you know, is worth millions or in this case, billions of dollars, if they don't have to look at real estate purchases in that way, because whatever they invest, it's almost like, I'm not exactly investing it because I don't really care if I get the return. But then at the same time, we see luxury properties, and I mean like super luxury properties that sit on the market for years. And a lot of times they're at like really inflated prices. Like the house that Beyonce bought wasn't on the market. Like it was, you know, unlisted for like 248 million and they got it for 200. So in their mind, they're like, well, we got a deal. But for us, we're like, a deal? Like what? Like did Jesus live? Like did Jesus walk this property? Because why does it cost $200 million?
Yeah,
it does make me think. It is sad that making your house the way that you want to like have you to create your own vibe and energy for your family, like because it goes deeper than just like, oh, I like the aesthetic. It's like it's an expression of yourself. It's kind of like expressing what's important to you, like the colors you use and the way you do lighting and all that kind of stuff affects your lifestyle and your kids' lifestyle and how they grow up and the type of house that they're growing up in. So it kind of goes deeper. And I was saying that it feels kind of sad that it's a luxury to be able to like make the space the way that you want it. You know, even if you're able to afford the house, it's still like, it is smart if you're buying your first house and plan to move to not paint the walls purple, you know. So
let me ask you a question, because you kind of laid roots here and everything like that. Would you buy other properties in this area and build them out the same way you did this, so you have other comps to compare your house to if you decided to sell it?
I think you need more money than one or two. You'd have to like buy the half of the neighborhood.
You think you would need that many?
Yeah.
You don't think
these are
ripple effect?
These appraisers, Mr. Pre-approved over there, some of these appraisers be giving people a hard time, so you're gonna need a lot of comps.
Well, I mean, so what I'm saying is, I mean, you have this is your base, kind of like your base model here. So if you were to buy 5 other properties and do them all the same,
I don't think the buyer pool supports this house, right? So this is a rancher that's 1,600 square feet with an outdoor kitchen and 2 smaller bedrooms and then a better sized bedroom in the basement, right? So like, well, it's not really good for a family house. It's like a bachelor pad. So what kind of single individual in this area is going to buy yeah, right. Like I don't know who it's for. Like,
gotcha.
Are they gonna spend, because the comps are putting this house at a crazy kind of, I think it's like 450, which is the New Jersey average, but I think most people buying houses are families or at least couples, and I don't think this is appropriate really. So I don't think it would make sense.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, that's what I when you said that earlier, I was just thinking, I'm like, well, what if you're the first, all these neighborhoods started somewhere.
I just want to be the weird Great Gatsby of the neighborhood, just like what's going on in that house.
What?
I have all these colored lights, and you know, I didn't have blinds for a while, so people could see inside, and it's like
Always cars there.
there's
it
weird.
sounds
Yeah, we
fun.
do podcasts
Sounds
here.
fun.
Ryan Snipes, that's what I'm talking about, Kev.
Snipes.
So my brother Kevin is on the.
I'm crying.
I'm
Shout out
sorry,
to
I
Kevin.
just got that.
So he's the one putting the banners up there and stuff. Kev, when you get a chance on the
I was
monitor
delayed a
screen, can you close on the monitor screen? Close that message up there behind you
Is it a
because
military
I can't
thing?
see I can't see our live numbers. Yeah.
We'll
it's
start
up
calling
there.
you Blade.
I'm
Close it.
crying.
Find the mouse. You got to go down and to the right. Wait, Kay, you had something to add on to this topic, right? Something about Boosie or something. Oh, what did Boosie do?
That wasn't what I was going to add to your.
No, Boosie
conversation.
badass.
What?
That is powerful.
What is happening?
That's
this
what
week,
I always
guys?
hear is that line where he's like, Boosie badass.
Anytime I hear Boosie, I just start spelling the word
Oh,
independent
God.
out of nowhere. I can't help it.
I'm crying. What is
Is
happening?
Is my chocolate status revoked for that rendition?
See.
Oh man.
You
No,
didn't
but
have
Brian,
it,
I
but
wanna
if you
go back
did,
to kind of like what Drew is
Bring the
piggyback on
mic
what Drew
closer.
said.
Mhm.
So you don't think that if you were to list this house, it being overpriced, that you would just set a trend?
I don't think they would.
Like, when we
Oh.
were at the real estate meeting and they were talking about, how when they're investing and they're doing their properties that, they're looking at the comps and seeing what they're going to do and doing the same exact thing. So if somebody were to see your house and saw everything that you put into it, like, you don't think that next flipper and those next flippers are going to try to keep up with that. And now the whole neighborhood.
This house has amenities that are not necessary, right? So, like, if you were a family, would you pay an extra $100K for this house versus another similar sized house without an outdoor kitchen and a pool and like the extra decor and upgraded appliances and stuff? I don't think so.
But what if you're that family
I
like
say,
you don't
what
want
if
to go to the
like
next
the
level?
aesthetic?
No,
and, like,
I
bring your
think
holster.
I think they would get a bigger house first, right? Because if I was looking at buying, I'd probably just get the bigger house and then add that stuff in later.
It depends. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
I was thinking that, like if
Should I put my house on the market for fake and then act like I'm selling it and see what offers I get and then just use the stupid New Jersey attorney review and then be like, oh, I changed my mind.
oh God.
Don't list
Don't
that
do
with the
that.
Ardhi real estate team.
No.
Don't embarrass us like that.
I should call another agent.
They're
and
gonna be on
list it.
Zillow like they just posted a video saying they had a party at this house.
I'm
Like,
gonna be.
no,
I'll
don't
be the
embarrass us.
crazy seller that
selling
just
a party
changes their
house?
mind.
No.
He gonna list it at 450
and then raise it to like 550. It'd be like offers accepted like yesterday, best and final.
Yeah.
Obnoxious.
Wait, little Boosie badass. He did something.
Don't put me on as a listing agent because I ain't doing that.
Oh my gosh. It was just to continue the conversation
He
of
bought a neighborhood
well, basically it's almost like he's building one like in his backyard.
because he got 27 kids.
Is kind of what's going on. But apparently, what did it say? 6 different homes in his backyard.
The streets are named after his children.
Wait. So Boosie bought one house that had a lot of land,
Yeah.
like acres,
Usually they have like a bunch of acres.
and then he
yeah.
built. Where's this at?
Where is his house? I got the article. Give me
We do a
second.
lot of prep on. No, I'm just playing. It doesn't matter.
No, we
Wait,
do.
it's
We give it a-
Louisiana? No, he moved out of there.
He's from Louisiana.
Yeah, but he said he can't be there.
I think it's
'cause
in Atlanta. I'm not
the
mistaken.
goons will get him.
Probably.
It's in Atlanta, Buckhead.
That is powerful nigga at work.
He giving us a pop quiz and whatnot.
I know. I gave you a home. I shouldn't have asked this
So-
question. Like
So it's
that.
funny. So while they're looking, that is what I want to do.
Mm.
That's my goal right now.
Me
Like
too.
I love that.
everybody's like, my family, like they think I'm crazy. They're like, well, 10 acres is enough, right? I'm like, no, it's not enough for what I want to do. Like I want to be able to build on, like I want our property here, couple maybe 20-acre clearing, and then the family, put your house here.
Yeah,
Kids,
per
put your house here.
Yeah.
You can build your own neighborhood in this section here and use the land,
Yeah, I like that.
and kind of expand it or whatever.
You should do it in Africa,
In Africa.
I like this right here.
Ghana. Let's
That'd
do
be
it.
kind of cool.
Kev-
I had a-
Kevin and I are
Ghana.
going.
We had a pool
Ryan's
client one time
Bigsby.
that bought he owns a he owns a lake, like a lake camp, like it was like a camp. So
Yeah.
he bought the camp, and he would like fly his family in from like Puerto Rico and stuff like that during the summertime and everything like that. So he would
Oh.
use it as like utility for like family. Anybody needed some place to stay or something like that. He had his main house on the estate and everything like that. And then again, he still had the lake, the pool, the tennis courts, and all that kind of stuff, all the acreage. And then he started building other properties on it and everything like that too.
Yeah,
Very jazzy.
because I've been looking at land after that after our mixer meeting, and the one developer was talking about where he just develops the land to the point of approval and then sells it, which made me think maybe I should look at land more, just raw land, and then figure out what to do with it. The problem is it seems slower to get money out of it, but I have to learn more about it.
So, and I don't know, I think we talked about this before. So I did that a couple years before the pandemic. I was just looking at different little plots of like land. I'm like, let me see, what I can find on Zillow. I was just shopping one day and I was looking. I saw a couple that were like $2,000. They weren't great areas or nothing like that, but I'm like, let me just own some land. Let me just buy some land and see what the outcome is. So eventually, it was funny. The guy from the mixer the other night was doing what somebody did to me. He was talking about people that he was calling people to buy their marinas. So somebody called me and was like, hey, I see you own X, Y, and Z plot of land. Are you looking to sell it? And I'm just like,
sure.
Yeah. What do you want to buy it for? Now I knew I got it for $2,000. And the guy was like, well, we'll give you 10 for it. I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not?
Right.
Because I only owned it for a year.
Nice.
But I did that 3 times.
Yeah, you can bank.
It was nice little come ups.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to park your money.
It's especially, I mean, there's people on my block that own plots of land. They live like kind of like across the street or catty corner from it,
right.
And they own the land, but they're just sitting on it because again, they have the value, it's paid off and everything like that. They get to pay a little bit of taxes on it, but if somebody's eventually is going to come knocking and ask for that,
right?
And then again, they can sell it off, and then they'll have either an investment, you can invest into something else, or
And my thing is, like, New Jersey's, the land is just going to be expensive, right? Like, I want to own acres and acres, so I probably have to look at other states that are less dense.
I was looking at land in Pemberton. We were looking at land in Pemberton the other day because it was like the cheapest for the most amount of acres that you get. It was like 71 acres for like $320,000.
Oh wow,
it's cheap.
Oh, I know it's cheap for a reason, but it was like the cheapest that you could find.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere else was like 10 acres, $620,000.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. I think if you can get a good deal and buy a nice size lot and then subdivide it, maybe sell it individually, like just different things like that. We have a client now closing next week who is buying a property, but it was on like a huge lot, and the seller subdivided it into 3 different lots. So he has the buyer closing on the lot that has the house, but then DR Horton is buying the other 2 lots from him. Like it's crazy how he just had, this one property that he was sitting on for a while, ended up flipping, like fixing that one up, doing a full remodel, putting that on the market, and then subdividing and putting the other 2 lots on there. It's like 3 checks for one property purchase, basically. Like stuff like that is crazy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about market value, because I think this is the giant, actually. Oh, I messed up my segue. I'm sorry, everyone.
All right, let's start over.
We were talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce, and Jay-Z dropped a fire line.
Oh my gosh.
Bars.
He said, you know the price of everything, but the value of nothing.
You're now tuned in to the greatest.
I think that was on the 444. No, it might have been
No,
Love
it's
All
not.
by Drake. It's on my boy Drake. Okay, anyway, if you guys didn't know, I'm Drake's cousin. I'm more Drake than
And y'all
Drake.
both light skin.
Did you guys
Super
hear
light
that
skin.
Jay-Z is going to be putting a casino in Times Square?
Yeah, did him and like Floyd Mayweather were like looking to invest?
Oh, now you want to throw the topic in after we was talking about topics, and then you stepped on my transition to the topic. Dang, Kay. What's going on?
That's because you wanted to be
Little long
cringe.
to read
into
it
it.
back up.
Yes.
I was doing a pregnant pause.
She was ice breaking the bars.
It was good.
Yeah, nice little segue.
I
Go
support
back
it.
and watch it later. You'll thank me.
You'll be like, that's a clip right there. That's a clip.
That's a clip right there.
Well, anyway,
Oh my
I
God.
think this is the biggest problem for people is that they don't understand value, market value, pricing, because people constantly will be like, that's not worth that much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the market value because there's plenty of people willing to pay that. So maybe you don't value it that way, but the market values it that way. And market value, this is a pretty good definition, is that it means the most probable price which a property should bring in a competitive and open market under all conditions. The thing about real estate is that it is not a super efficient market. So you have realtors in between and you have like information that can be lost in the middle. And if the people don't physically see the property, it's a little bit hard. So it's not a perfect market. So a perfect market might be something like the stock market where all the information is available to everybody all the time and it's really fast and liquid. So the pricing on like the stock market is much more accurate versus real estate where it's a bit more subjective. So that is true. But I think people just have a struggle with understanding value, you know, and understand, because a lot of times, like, for example, when people own a property, those mansions you were talking about, okay, they put a lot of their blood, sweat, and tears to build the mansion and put all this cool stuff, which I think like a movie theater is stupid to put in your house. I think it's dumb. It's a waste of money. But other people might like it. But the whole point is, oh, well, I spent all this money and it took my whole life to build this mansion, so it means a lot to me. That's your intrinsic value, or that's how you value the property, but that has nothing to do with the market value of the property. So the market value of the property is what most people are willing to pay for it. And so if your grandma lived there or your kid had their first steps and walked in the house and now you value it, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't, your family legacy, all that stuff doesn't matter as far as market value. And people kind of get confused and want to say, oh, well, I spent $50,000 in this kitchen, so I'm going to raise the value of the property by $50,000. It doesn't exactly work like that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in agreement. And I think that that's a conversation that I have with actually both buyers and sellers, but I think it's definitely more of a seller conversation. But something that I have to remind them all the time is like real estate is not an industry that like dwells on emotion, like your emotions, your memories and all the stuff that you put into the house. Like that's you, that's sentimental value, that's all you. Once a buyer off the street who has never met you or anyone who has ever lived in this home before steps foot in the house, the value is going to be whatever it is that they want to, you know, pay for it. They're not going to want to pay $50,000 more because you grew up in the house and it was special to you. Like, it's like, okay, that's cute,
Or
but
if you overpaid the rehab, that's not my problem. If you spent $50,000 to do $20,000 worth of work, you know?
exactly,
so it doesn't matter.
And that whole like, and
what did you pay for it? It's like it doesn't
Exactly.
matter what they paid for. It's what
Yeah.
other people would buy the house for today.
Right. I saw that you paid $200,000 for this house 30 years ago, and now you think you're getting 600,000. Yeah, if somebody comes along and wants to pay it, yeah, absolutely. Like, and honestly, I tell my buyers this all the time. I'm like, sellers aren't scamming you by doing that. And people say, oh, that's highway robbery. No, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is why we tell you all to get into the game so that you can do it too. That's ultimately like what it comes down to. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's kind of what it really is, I feel like.
Ebony got kicked off of Facebook and sent to YouTube. What's going on? Ebony, you behaving poorly on Facebook?
She be hopping around.
Let me find out she in Facebook jail out here.
For bullying Ryan.
I'm against
Chocolate
censorship.
complexion.
Ban censorship.
I'm crying.
Anyway.
So what do you think, again, as far as, you know, the market value and where does that fine line? Where's that line at between what the market values and what you value, and how to transition that into what you want to have when you sell the property?
When I was flipping houses, when I was at Floor & Decor, which is the best store to buy materials if you're in New Jersey, they have such big selections. They have good lighting so you can really see the colors of what you're buying and the tiles. And they have little display racks where you can put all the tiles and do your design together. This is not an ad, but they should.
Why are you whispering?
He's
Because I don't
So
know.
cringe.
I'm sorry,
He said,
Kev.
"Wait till you see my
What is it called, Ryan?
Floor and decor.
Okay.
Oh my god.
And so anyway, when we were flipping and we weren't really sure like what materials to pick, like for a bathroom or something, we would go through the store with all our pieces and go up to people like, this one or this one, and they'd pick. And then we go up to someone else, this one or this one, and then they pick. And we would use that information to pick
Oh God.
what material we would use, because whatever the majority likes is probably going to increase the value the most. So if most people want to upgrade it bathroom, then upgrade the bathroom first. And then if the second thing that most people want is a kitchen, then do that. They might not care about, like, pools are a good one where only certain people want pools, and there's actually a select group of people who a good amount of people who don't want a pool. Maybe they have a kid or they don't want the extra expense of having a pool. It's actually a negative. So the market value of putting a pool in for if you're going to resell your house could be negative, right? Because the pool might cost you $60,000, and when it won't add $60,000 of value. To be, you might add only 30,000, or it won't add zero, but less than what it costs to do.
All right. So if I was somebody in my home, I'm a homeowner right now, and I plan on selling my house in a year. Do I redo my kitchen, or do I add a bathroom onto one of my bedrooms?
Adding things is like having a master suite is in real big demand. So if you don't have a master suite, that's a really big thing. But then it would depend on how raggedy your kitchen is. Can it get by? Can you modernize it some other way? Is it because form is different than aesthetic, right? So like I always think the cheapest and freest and best way to add value to a property is improve the layout in a way that doesn't cost a lot of money. You know, sometimes there's walls you can take down that aren't expensive to take down, or just changing the flow. For example, I had a staircase in this house, and I changed it into like a low wall so that it didn't have like the railing, and it helped a little bit. So, or design is another thing. So like I was appalled when I looked at someone's house who was flipping and they painted all the walls white, because yes, it gives it open-endedness, but for some reason, style to some degree adds value to the property even. And you could paint it any color, it would cost you the same thing, but sometimes painting or doing certain things to create a certain aesthetic add value.
So I guess that's my next question. So if I was going to redo the inside of the house, or should I take the money that I have and work on my curb appeal?
I think the inside of the house is much more important, but you can't have negatives on the outside.
Okay. Negatives like
crazy bushes or weeds or like things that are in disrepair. Actually, that's for throughout the house. It's better to have buyers, especially if you're in the starter home price range, when someone sees something that doesn't look right, it's a red flag.
Okay.
It could not be a big problem, but like if you have a crack in the sidewalk or something, it's better if it wasn't cracked, because then it just looks more well maintained.
I got you.
Even though it's not a big deal. Same thing like an outlet cover. Like if you don't have an outlet cover on an outlet, they're like, what's wrong with the electrical? So you're creating these weird manifestations in people's mind when it's now it's like 30 cents for outlet cover. So
yeah,
I was going to say 5 cents, but that's a lot more.
Would you ever build up? Like if I had a rancher right now, I was one level.
If your land value is high, like if you're in a Cherry Hill or like, where land is scarce, then yeah, I think adding on, it's going to give you a big bang for your buck. If you're in Pemberton, it might not make as much sense.
Okay.
And I even hear, just, working with as many buyers as I do, they'll say different things like, well, if this seller can't even keep up with cutting their lawn, like, how do I know that they can keep up with, the HVAC system? Or how do I know that the roof's okay, or just different things like that. They'll look at very simple things and their mind automatically goes to, okay, well, if the seller can't take care of this, how can I trust that they've been maintaining this other stuff? Like they'll literally look and see that you haven't trimmed a bush and then just assume that like you haven't been taking care of your house for the whole time you've been living there. So I tell people, just to piggyback off of what Ryan said, I personally tell my sellers, like, try to make sure the house is as presentable as possible, but I'd rather you not put in so much money into things that kind of don't matter. Like I actually have a listing that's coming on the market next week, and my seller was like, do you have a contractor for me? And I'm like, well, what exactly are you trying to do? Because I've already seen the house, it's okay to go on the market. And she's like, well, the floor upstairs creaks and I don't want that to be a downside for a buyer. So I want to get someone in, maybe rip the floors up and fix that that little squeak in the floor and put the carpet back down. And I'm like, but why? Like, why would you do that? And then anytime she does something to the house, she wants it added into the sales price to try to recoup some of that money back. So I'm kind of telling her, like, look, this is something that does not matter. Trust me. But the house was a funny looking color on the outside. So she asked me, okay, well, do I fix this squeak in the floor or do I get my siding redone? I chose the siding all day long. So now she has brand new siding on the house. It looks so much better now, gives the curb appeal and all that kind of stuff. And just from us putting those pictures on, the MLS, just as a coming soon, there's like 9 showings already requested and the house isn't even on the market yet. And that's just from seeing the front of the house. So curb appeal does matter, but it can be so simple as just making sure like the lawn's well manicured and everything, is tidy, but you don't have to go and redo your driveway and do all this crazy stuff.
These are great questions, True. And I want to hear from Kay, but first, guys, this is an interactive show, so ask your questions. We have 10 watchers being ninja watchers hiding in the background.
Shout out to y'all.
We can see
Why do you do these things?
I see you.
Why are you like that?
You don't have the ninja smoke. We see you.
You don't have the ninja smoke.
Stop being a ninja watcher. It's creeping me out. I'm nervous. Don't be a ninja watcher.
Don't be creepy.
Everyone who's watching needs to comment. And
Just say hi.
Just say hello. Talk to us nice.
Drop an emoji.
Yep.
Something.
Chuck a deuce or something like
Put
that.
an obscure emoji that's never been used before.
Drop a little green heart or a pink one, because apparently we got this green memo going on because Ryan put these green plants. Y'all see these new plants?
Do y'all like to play? Look, we've been upgrading the studio for your guys' visual, to make your eyes feel better.
Yep.
I could have come up with good English for that. Ebony said cringy AF. Why is that cringy?
Because
I'm watching
you like, why are you?
Ninja stars.
Why? I picked for Drew to be the new host.
Oh my God. Y'all
And
don't
just
want
like
chocolate
that-
men to host.
Oh my God.
I'm back to saying more than one thing.
I'm crying.
Okay.
I'm crying.
What's up, Brian?
Have you encountered these things when you were wholesaling? You can't say no because we need content.
Well, I'm going to say as an agent, saying like
Yes!
some of my clients, we know when we're going to showings, they see very small things and change their mind about these houses.
Right, really small.
Oh
It'd be
man,
cheap.
there's mold in the bathroom where the caulk is. Like, stuff that can be like common. Like, I don't know.
Don't you feel like they're like just like I'm gonna die from the mold over 30 years?
Very much so. We're like, oh man, these floors are not installed right. Like, they can be reinstalled.
No, they can't. That's hard.
These floors can be reinstalled.
Are you crazy? That's a lot of work. My back hurts already thinking about it.
But it's not. But it's not something like adding an addition.
No, I
it's not
know.
as tedious. You know, I think that sometimes buyers can be very picky. But
yeah, I'm with you. My back hurts. That's why I don't want to take the floor up.
Lord Jesus.
Okay, I had this question the other day. I had a client that they have a 3-bedroom house. 2 of the bedrooms, they're back to back in a hallway, but the closets on both bedrooms are kind of like on the same wall. Would you blow that wall out to make a bedroom bigger when you were trying to sell your house? Would that increase your value? You taking down the size of a bedroom, but you're making it much larger, or would you kind of keep it the same size and keep the 2 bedrooms that you have now?
I would say I'm gonna make neither.
Neither.
Are they both small?
I would say honestly, I feel like right now a lot of what I'm seeing is a lot of people are working from home, especially from COVID, right? You know, like a lot of people are now spending more time at home. So I would like extend and make a home office
Okay,
because I see that's what a lot of people are looking for. They need that extra space to stay at home and do that.
got you. Okay.
So I guess like in a sense I would extend,
Mhm.
but just add something else in there just to make it fit. So it's like functionality wise.
That's what
Gotcha.
I was thinking, because the
Mhm.
home office is so important now, which is
Mhm.
funny because that was like a novelty.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Isn't that so? That changed the dynamic of market value because a home office's value went up, even though you didn't change anything about your house.
Right.
The way that people make purchase decisions changed. So if you had a home office, your value went up. If you didn't, maybe your value, I mean, everything went up, but maybe it went up more.
Mhm.
Mhm. If you had 2 properties with the same amenities and everything like that, but one person made one a home office,
Right.
that house would probably sell for $10,000 more. Is what you're saying?
Which is
Mhm.
funny because staging affects stuff, even though none of that stuff stays in the house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I
speaks
agree.
to the lack of imagination from buyers, which is like it's the old Steve Jobs thing. People didn't know that they wanted the iPhone until they were given the iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
I had
Sometime-
I had
yeah.
a listing like 2 years ago. Had it on the market for might have been like close to a month, no offers, nothing like that. It was like people couldn't see for whatever reason. It was priced below what I felt it was worth.
Oh God.
So I felt like it was definitely going to sell, but for some reason just could not get this property like under contract. So we pulled it off. I told my seller, I'm like, look, let's call some painters and just get the house painted just one color all on the inside. They put one coat of paint on the house. I got new pictures done, new marketing, put the house back on the market, like 3 offers within the first 24 hours. We didn't
Isn't that
change
goofy?
anything. We painted the walls.
That's so goofy. That's what I was saying when they painted the walls white.
Stuff that's cosmetic that you can go in and change yourself.
Yeah.
Say sometimes I don't understand why like that's such a determining factor for a buyer
Mm-hmm.
versus like something like they really, really wanted a garage. It doesn't have a garage, but you're tripping over the paint.
Yeah.
They do. I
You
don't
know-
know. I don't get it either.
It's psychological a lot of times, though. You ever
Mhm.
walk into a restaurant, you're like, I don't want to eat here.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's the
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah.
The
It's the
vibe.
The vibe, not
Yeah.
right.
So they
It's like, oh
walk
my
in and
God.
they're like, yeah, I could paint it, but I don't feel
Oh,
like this
God.
is for me.
Mhm.
It don't feel right in here.
That's design
Yeah.
and color and like aesthetic.
Mhm.
And that's free to like have a good design. I mean, now buying the things sometimes costs money, but you could have painted the colors anything,
Mhm.
but choosing the right color can really help.
Mhm. And you know what's crazy? I feel like whenever I say this, especially to other agents, they never agree with me. But I swear by this, regardless of if we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market, I believe the buyer always controls it. Because regardless of like inventory issues and stuff like that, if there's not a buyer willing to pay a certain price for a home, it's not going to sell.
Right.
So I'm like, I feel like regardless of whether we're in a seller's market, like, cause I even have a seller myself, y'all, full disclosure, but, who just lists their properties for like whatever price they want because they think that that's what it's worth. And they're like, well, we're in a seller's market and buyers are desperate. So someone's going to pay the price. But the reality of it is, regardless of what the market looks like, the buyers are still going to be the ones that control this thing, because ultimately that's what value is. What is someone willing to pay for your property? And if no one's willing to pay what you listed at, do you really have the upper hand? Like,
No.
Man, that sounds a lot like the dating market.
oh my God.
So I have a
Save that for talk to
question,
me.
guys.
tonight.
Oh God. Oh God.
I have a question, not about the dating market though, Ryan.
I was gonna
Ryan was
What do
about
y'all
to get
think the
spicy.
hot colors are right now in real estate? So we're talking about paint
let's
colors.
talk about it.
So
I love
is gray
colors.
still in for y'all?
Gray is not a color.
Why'd you
All right.
get him started? Why did we do this, Kaylin?
Gray's not a color.
Did y'all see that weird little
My
dance
life
he
is about
did
to
as soon as she
change.
said color? Oh my God.
My
color.
life is about to change because I don't know this.
Yo, my whole house is gray. My whole house. different shades of gray. My house is
Guys,
50
30.
shades.
Yeah, it's probably good like 12 shades of gray for real, but it's the most gray house ever. And look at Ryan, just not disapproving. Good thing you don't live there, because I love it.
What's your thoughts, Ryan?
the colors.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you suck at design, a neutral is good because you won't go wrong and you won't hurt your resale and you won't be weird, right? Because people will paint their wall bright red. That's not good. I think if you want to go to level 2 or level 3 with your home decor, if you figure out, if you have good color science that's consistent and creates vibes throughout your house, and you have to create the right vibe in the right room. A kitchen vibe is different than your bedroom vibe. Your use of color could be a positive. Like if you see my house right now, yes, my walls are a neutral gray. They don't have a color influence. Most grays have a color in them, just so you guys know. So if you're looking at the paint swab, go to the top of it, and it'll usually be a tint of color, or look at the section that it's in. It might be in the blues, but then you see a gray. It's gray. Gray is white and black combined. That's it. But these have some blue at it. Or you could look on the back of the swatch and you'll see the RGB code. So I say that to say, even if you have gray, you could like I painted a house that had a yellow wood type of floor, right? When I say yellow, I don't mean like bright yellow. I'm just saying that's the color influence it had. So I did a green gray, which yellow and green are complementary colors. So it really ties together. If you put a blue gray there, it won't look as good. So use some color science, look it up, look at color schemes.
I'm asking you for
It will add value. Oh, if I was going to say what's in for me, I like green and yellow combos. I think that's my favorite right now. I'm liking the greens. You're starting to see green cabinets in the kitchen. I mean, in the bathroom, you're seeing green and gold.
I've been seeing some navy blue and gold.
You're seeing a lot of blue and gold,
I
but
love
that's
blue.
most people's walls have that blue gray, so
Mhm.
it's
Makes sense.
monochromatic though.
I like that emerald green, that dark green
It
with
looks
the
real
gold.
good.
I love that.
And you're going to
Mhm.
see yellow that normally goes with it. Red would be a contrasting color to green, but that's pretty aggressive.
It's Christmas.
I think red is appropriate somewhere like if it's a basement, like a movie theater type thing. You know, like I think it has to
The
make
vibe.
sense.
Yeah. You could do so when I say red though, guys, like it could be like desaturated red, meaning like it's not bright red. It's just like a tint of red, you know? And then if you're looking for accents, maybe something on the wall has a splotch of red that's in the artwork on the wall that has a red. So that's how you kind of like can tie things together. Like if you look in my house, I have a blue and orange concept in the living room, and everyone was like, orange? Well, that sounds crazy, blue and orange. But it's not that the wall is orange or whatever, but I have a carpet that has some orange in it, and then I have artwork that has some orange in it, and then the gold, I have brass, so it has some orange tint to the hardware, so they all tie together and it creates a contrast. That's why I don't like this neutral gray. Everything's just neutral gray with no color, and there's no contrast.
I can
So,
definitely understand that.
I'm sorry.
Candace, Drew.
Nah.
No, I'm just looking at the gray chair he's sitting in, and the gray wall behind him, and the gray curtain
This
over here,
studio
and the gray floor.
This studio was designed neutrally because we do other shows here, so we didn't want to influence the vibe of the shows. So it's intentionally done this way for that reason. But if you look at my other rooms, like the guest room I'm doing, lots of color. I have blue, yellow, gold type of colors in there. Yeah.
Making it.
I put
I'm
everyone to sleep
seeing-
with color.
I'm
Sorry.
seeing a lot of like bold, like
Mhm.
especially on the exterior, like the jet black houses, or like the straight up like white with the real dark black accents, and the newer like style model houses.
Yep.
Modern, real modern.
I love a
Gold
black garage
accents
door.
are in.
I see
Yeah.
like the white houses with the black door, black garage doors.
Yeah, yeah.
Black shutters on a white house. We even did like black gutters on a
Oh, nice.
remodel. Like,
Yeah.
like that.
When I looked at selling Sunset, I noticed a lot of the real expensive houses were like all white. and I detest that too. I think that says luxury and clean, but I think it's empty. American style is
Basic.
whack.
It's empty,
It's
but what
soulless.
I've learned from knowing people who buy properties like that is they buy it and then hire an interior designer to go and redo the whole thing. So that is purposely giving that blank slate. Here's what it could look like, sort of, kind of, not really, but ultimately, of course, it's staged. So
Right.
all that stuff's going to be gone, and they're literally going to hire someone within the first couple weeks of them closing to just redo the whole thing.
True.
Mm-hmm. I saw one the other day. It was like that navy / royal bluish, like on like the outside of the house, and the whole porch going around was just jet black.
Oh wow!
It was super jazzy.
Whoa there. Dark colors on the exterior are going to make your house hot.
You would think. I would
Oh
think so.
God.
Oh, for sure. That black.
There's
Ooh.
a whole neighborhood out in like Richboro, Pennsylvania, that like they did like the black exterior on all of them, but they had like these like stone looking pillars to the front of the house that have like a little overhang.
I probably
Nice.
love that.
That
Yeah.
looks nice. I think it looks nice, but man, I don't know. I wonder if you compare your temperature, if it has a significant impact.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Probably.
But I mean, I guess you would have to talk to the builder about that beforehand. Like, I'm sure somebody thought about that part of the design. You would hope somebody would thought about that part of the design beforehand. Like, hey, you're not gonna have to use the heat because your house is gonna be roasted anyway. Like,
Yeah, I guess in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Well, but the sun's not out. I don't know.
Or maybe it holds better. I don't know.
What are some things you guys think people think add value but actually don't? Because I had a seller, actually the seller whose house I'm about to list, asked me, should I get solar panels added on the property before I list it? Like, will that help? And I'm like,
go get those solar
don't.
panels.
I'm like, please don't. She's like, why not? And so, I had to do the explaining, but now it has me thinking, like, what kind of stuff are people doing where they think it actually like adds value? Like, I'm going to do this in order to sell, like, not because I want solar panels, but let me put solar panels on this house so that I can sell it with the solar panels. I'm like, you're kind of hurting yourself. At least I feel like you are.
Yeah, solar panels are the biggest one for me. Like, oh, well, we got them because, it brings the electric bill down. It's going to help our resale value. Little do they know that people either hate it or some people aren't going to be able to afford it. So you're not going to be able to get your buyer pool that you want because they have to qualify for their solar panels too. So I think that's the biggest one.
The solar panels.
The solar panels are the biggest one. Swimming pools.
Yeah.
We talked about that earlier. They're another one where getting a lot of people will either they'll have one that's not functioning. They think they got to get it repaired or fixed to sell the house when they could just get it filled in and be done with it. Because again, you could probably sell it for more money without having the pool there and just get it filled in. You can get it filled in for like $5,000-$6,000. Redoing it and refurbishing it and everything like that, it's going to cost you $15,000-$20,000.
Half measures, halfway upgrading things, and then leaving like other parts like jacked up still. I think if you're gonna do it, you got to do the whole thing.
Like getting a dishwasher and then not doing the cabinets.
Questionable on that, but like I don't know, like if you redo your floors but then
you got holes in the walls,
or you do some of the floors and then other floors are jacked up. I mean, it helps
to the steps but not the stair, but not the hallway.
You got weird transitions, like it causes other problems sometimes. Or like, I mean, I guess if you do your kitchen but then your bathroom's outdated, it still helps. I think it should, like, okay, you have old cabinets, but you're gonna get a new countertop. No, like just don't do it.
Yeah, I showed a house the other day, day before yesterday, and this was clearly a flip because you walk in, they got them gray floors everybody loves, and the gray. I'm like, oh, here we go. But I walked in the kitchen, and there's like wet paper towels on the floor around all the appliances. Like, I kid you not, I show Ryan the picture. I'm like, what is this? Like, what is happening? It like brown paper towel, like around the stove, the dishwasher, the washer, the dryer, like back in the laundry room. I'm like, what is going on? I don't understand. Like, why is it? It's like all the appliances are leaking. I didn't know a stove could leak. I don't know what's happening. I'm scared. But for you to put all that money into the property, but like kind of halfway do it because you put some old dirty appliances in here. Like, why why half step?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense. Which brings me to, I wanted to just note, I think that a house being functional matters more too, because some things, like with a listing that we have right now, the way it's set up, like for the price point that it's at, if someone's buying a luxury property, they probably want a master suite. I don't know anybody who will buy a luxury home that doesn't want a master suite, but the listing that we have is like a community kind of like layout, to where you have to go through a bedroom in order to get to the bathrooms, all of the bathrooms. And so that's been the comments that we're getting constantly after every single showing, like, it was perfect for my clients, but this layout just isn't for them. And it's remodeled, like they did the bathrooms over. The bathrooms are gorgeous, but it's like you missed a step. It's not functional. If you think about the average family living in this home, it doesn't fit. And once you put emotion into the sale of your home and you think, well, I lived in this home and it wasn't a problem for me, or I don't understand why you wouldn't love that. Like, I think it's great. It's like, you think it's great, but the market's speaking. And I guess I'm saying all that to say, guys, especially if you're in the market to sell your home, the market is going to speak louder than you can. And I think that if you keep that at the forefront of your sale and look at this as you getting a return on your investment, you definitely have to remove emotion, because money don't care about feelings.
That's a word. That's a bar right there. That's a bar. Money
Making
don't
money,
care about
it's
feelings.
like they don't care about feelings. Oh, you sad? Oh, okay. Well,
now let me ask
get
you.
this money.
All right. Let me ask you a question. So, with that type of client or something like that, and when people are coming in and saying they're not liking the layout, or if it had that one thing, would you ever tell them to take the property off the market and do that one thing to put it back on the market?
I tried. Tried and was unsuccessful. My goal now is to at least get a quote, like from a contractor, saying, this is what it would cost to do this if this was an issue, for your client or whatever, and just kind of have that in the MLS as like an update, an uploaded document that they can see, if this is a concern for your client, just, here's a quote, here's an idea of what it's going to cost in order to, make this change, so that we can turn this situation into, a master suite. My seller didn't want me to do that, but I'm working on it.
Now, that addition, or any addition, do you think that addition is going to bring a solid buyer, or do you think it's going to add value and a solid buyer?
I think a little bit of both. I think that, and it goes back to kind of what we were saying earlier, where the value of a property kind of comes into, I think the value is mostly determined upon a home being a good fit for a buyer. And I think that making certain changes to a property can increase the property value if whatever that change is going to be more appealing to buyers, because then you are adding value, because now people can kind of see themselves in a home. If they're walking into a house and it looks good, it's appealing or whatever, but they can't figure out which kid is going to go in which bedroom or anything, you're kind of losing value in that case, because this buyer can't see themselves in the home. But if you can reconfigure a house in a way where people can see themselves in a home, that's where the value comes in. And that's why a lot of homes that are staged sell faster, because that's giving you an image, like it's giving you a picture of what the house could look like if you were in it.
No, that's dope. All right. Yeah, because I mean, again, like you said, you're painting a picture with those staging companies and stuff like that. So I get it.
I'm looking at you, Ninja Watchers, and I'm very upset with you guys.
It's because you said it was chocolate. If you ain't say that, they probably would have talked to you.
They're scared of the chocolate.
They are. They would have talked to you.
Candace, can I chime in? I love the staging. I'm not gonna lie, because I've seen some houses without staging. I've seen one house in particular a couple times. The first 2 or 3 times I saw it had no staging. It's been on the market for a while. And then I went back again, and I guess the agent decided to put some staging in there, and it made so much more sense, because to me the rooms were so small. Oh, you can't fit anything in here. You can't fit a bed in here. And I go back and I see this queen size bed in here, and I'm like, oh, a bed does fit, and I can fit you can fit a dresser and all this stuff. So now it makes that person think like, oh, okay, well, I do have a little baby, so this can fit in here. They're not going to be in here all the time, or just making them feel like, okay, this can be home for me. So I definitely have had that experience with home staging, where the home staging kind of made her made or broke like the property if they wanted it or not. You know, like it's definitely one of the things that I think that all houses really should have is home staging, so you can really just see like if you could see yourself in there. Because sometimes if you're walking to something that has no furniture, no nothing, it's just like these are just walls. You know, like sometimes some people want to see the homey, and I know sometimes that when we're doing showings and there's tenants there, there's families there, it can seem inconvenient for us. But I'm finding that sometimes my buyers are like, "Oh, I saw what it's like for a family to live there, and I do like it." And I'm like, oh, I never thought about it that way. To me, it's just like, oh, we can't really walk through and do what we want to do because they're here. But in reality, they're seeing that this is somebody's homes and they're comfortable. So now they're thinking like, oh, I can be comfortable here too. Let's put an offer in.
Yeah. It's if you don't have it, you're depending on the imagination of the buyer or whatever picture you can paint while you're showing the property. But I think that if you have a home, and this is more so like for agents, but if you're listing a home that has maybe an odd or like not really, ideal layout, staging definitely wins. And it's worth the investment because, again, you're depending on the imagination of people. And I think that if you can show the space that this property can create, I think that means more than anything. Even if you take a bedroom and you set it up like an office, a buyer can walk in there, see a desk, a computer, and all that, and see that it's an office, but say, "Oh, I can put my kid in this room. I can see all this office furniture in here. Little Bam Bam can fit in here."
Bam Bam. Oh God.
I just think staging. I really do. I think staging wins, and honestly, and I kind of don't want to say this, but it's something that I'm going to try to do. Hopefully, I can do it. But I guarantee you, if I can get this seller that I was telling you guys about to allow me to get the quote on, changing some things in the property and have that home staged, I can probably get under contract.
Oh yeah.
The problem though is when you do that after the fact, you have days on market and all kinds of things that you're kind of like, stacked up against. Yeah. So I think the beauty in, listing just in general, of course, is to list the property at the right price, but plan that marketing strategy ahead of time. And don't, sometimes it's okay to let the market speak, but when the market's talking, you gotta listen and kind of flow with it.
Yeah, I like staging. I think it adds a lot. And I think really it's probably worth the cost of doing it on houses at decent prices for sure.
Absolutely.
Almost every time.
Yeah.
What's a decent price to you, Ryan?
$450.
I think anything above the average sales price probably should be staged. I think these new construction homes get away with it a little bit. And sometimes they have the model homes where like on Zillow or, wherever they have the pictures listed where you can kind of like envision it. But aside from that, definitely.
I don't like the 3D render or whatever because then you go in and you're just underwhelmed. Because I've been tricked where like I thought they had furniture and it didn't have furniture.
Oh no, I'm talking about model homes.
No, I know,
like this is the exact layout I'm buying, and this one particular property is staged.
Right.
But eventually I'm going to build something identical to it.
I wasn't referring to that. I think the model home, that's why the builders can do it. But have you guys seen listings where it looked like it had furniture and there was no furniture?
Yeah, and I've seen in the in the agent sections where they're like, please note these are like it's not doesn't look
like the virtual staging or whatever. Sometimes it's real fake. You can tell. It look like The Sims. Table be floating in the air and stuff. I'm like, all right.
I feel like we've had a negative experience anytime I've looked at anything that then it didn't have furniture. Yeah, I was like, this house is kind of raggedy.
I was thinking the other week when I saw something like that, and I was like, "Gang, I wonder like if you could like create an app or something like that through like the Oculus, like the VR. So like you go in a house and it'll stage it for you when you put the goggles on. It'll take form of the wall, and you can kind of look around and put things where you want to put them and stuff like that.
Well, I know AI taking over and all that. Chat GPT and all that. They gonna give real estate agents some goggles eventually. You have to pay for them though, like we pay for everything else. But they gonna come out with them. Go ahead and invent it, Drew.
Yo,
buying houses in the summertime.
Let's talk about it. I mean, so to be honest, all the stuff that we've been talking about is preparation for sellers, and getting their houses ready to sell for the summertime. Because coming up again, the school year's ending. college semesters are already have ended and stuff like that. So a lot of people are going to be looking to relocate and to move or to put down roots, in certain areas and stuff like that. So you got to kind of prepare to either one, if you're going to sell your house or sell your property because you want to get your kids into a different school district or something like that. All the things that we've been talking about as far as the property, what the value and what actual value is going to be, all those things you have to take into account, what type of renovations you're going to need to do or what kind of corrections you're going to need to make to that property before you can sell that house. So all the things, again, like I said, we've been talking about are kind of geared towards that preparation. The other thing, again, you got to kind of look at as well is where you're going to next. A lot of buyers and sellers right now, they've kind of been a little bit scared of the market as far as interest rates and things of that nature are concerned. So if you're looking to move, over the summertime or something like that, you want to definitely reach out to, a financial, again, a loan officer and get your finances in order to see where your money is going. 'Cause at the end of the day, I mean, I have a client right now that, they don't owe too much on the property they currently own. And they're like, well, I want to buy another property, but I don't want a 6% or a 7% interest rate. But because they have a ton of equity in the property that they already currently have, I said, well, you can rent the property out and, it'll still make sense for you to do it because the rent you're going to get from that property is going to cover most of your mortgage payment. So, are you going to have an increase in interest rate? Absolutely. But at the same time, you have an asset that you can leverage that you don't have to sell right away or anything like that. You can go ahead and rent out and it'll, help cover the mortgage on that back end.
True.
Now, again, I would say, for you guys, as far as what are you guys seeing out there right now, as far as people selling their houses and listing their houses and stuff like that? Do you think anybody, again, with the school year coming up and everything like that, have you been getting many consultations, the people that are going to put in their house on the market next month?
I think that, well, regardless of the market conditions, this is always the busiest time, and it's mainly for that reason. For me personally, the listing that I have coming up, I mean, she wanted to wait until this time of year because she's a teacher.
Okay.
So, they off during the summertime. It's perfect for her to, pack up during that time, and she's relocating. But again, because she's a teacher, her plan is to relocate during that summertime where she doesn't have to work. So it's exactly that scenario. And she actually reached out to me to sell back in like October, November. So it was something that she's been wanting to do for a while. But like you said, this time of year is the time where it's easiest to do. I would say that it's a lot easier for a seller or a buyer to pack up and move when children are involved. And of course, it's because of, uprooting your kids and moving them, how the school districts are set up, in our area. But aside from that, I think that as long as a seller has a plan for where they're going to go and their why is strong enough for why they want to sell, buyers are going to buy and sellers are going to sell regardless. I just think that because of the market conditions, you have to have a strong enough why in order to do it.
I think the angst that sellers that are trying to buy another house are having, and I didn't think it would be such a big deal, but it's definitely turning out to be a big problem, is that they have to sell their house contingent. If they have to sell their house contingent, it's very challenging for them because getting their offer accepted now is even harder. Sometimes they might even be at a disadvantage versus the first time buyer because no one's going to want to take that contingent. Basically what that means is they have to sell their house to be able to buy the house, and in the contract they will have an out if they're not able to sell their house within a certain period of time. So that adds another complexity if they're not able to sell their house. So when they're putting in an offer, it makes that offer less attractive, even if their loan and their money situation would be better versus a FHA buyer or something like that. They're kind of to a disadvantage in some of these cases, which is kind of balancing the playing field sometimes.
It definitely balances out a little bit. And to those sellers, I always recommend bridge financing. So bridge loans are loans that pretty much give you temporary financing that will help you not be contingent on the sale of your house. So the lender will give you a loan and say, hey, we're not going to include this loan inside of your debt to income ratio when you're buying a house. But you're gonna have to pay this loan for, it's a short-term loan. You're not, it's not like a 30-year or anything like that. They might give it to you for 12 months. But they give you that loan to keep you from being contingent on the sale of your house. So what it'll do is you can go ahead and buy that house, that next house that you have. We have you, inside of that loan. And then once you sell your house, you can pay that bridge loan off with the proceeds of your house. So you don't have to worry about being contingent on the sale of anything or anything like that. But to get to your point, not everybody can do that because you still have to qualify for the bridge financing.
Right.
You still have to have a good enough credit score. You still have to have, some reserve funds and everything like that. So we can make sure that, if you do find another property, that you can make sure you can make the, the bridge payment and everything like that. So,
and this is catastrophic. It could send ripples throughout multiple people, right? Because person A is selling their house and they're buying another house, and the house that they're buying, they're contingent. And then that person that they're buying the house from, the seller of the other house, is also doing the same thing. So they're selling their house and buying. So it's a chain, and maybe it's happening again. So if one part of the chain breaks, all those deals get wiped out, and it destroys everybody's situation. And then kids are involved in school districts, and then there's escrow deposit. It can be a giant mess.
Yeah.
I was in a chain
mess.
like that. I was the middle link. I was the middle link, and I'm like, both of your deals are falling apart. None of it's my fault. We sitting here all cute waiting for closing, and everybody else got their hair falling out. And long story short, my clients ended up not being able to close because their sellers couldn't, their seller couldn't close on their new house, and then that seller for that one couldn't close on that house. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And again, that's part of the reason why you really have to prepare for these transactions, because there are real people on all sides of the transaction.
Yeah.
So if picking the right real estate agent, picking the right lender matters, because again, if your financing falls through, or if your portion of the deal falls through, you could affect 5 other people's lives in that transaction, and everybody can lose, on their house, their homes, put them back financially, the whole shebang.
This is where the agent's experience comes in, because the agent's going to help you as a seller select the right offer, because maybe you're getting more money from one person, but they know the lender that's doing the mortgage for this other person. They know that agent, they know that how they work, they know how, like, that's worth more than money if you're going to uproot your kids' lives, and they were planning on going to this school district and they were going to play football for this team, and then at the last minute it all falls apart and now you're back at square one. That's worth a lot of money to a lot of people, so make sure you're working with the right people and don't be greedy on your deals.
Yeah.
It's connections, it's reputation, it's so many things in one. And it's crazy because I'd say maybe like a year or two ago, I was heavy in like the buyer consultations and coming up with these like mortgage ready plans. And here's the things that you need to do over the next, 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, whatever plan it was that I would have to put together for clients. And you would think that because we're in a seller's market and you can, they would make jokes and say like a dog can sell a house. Like you can just take cell phone pictures and the house would sell itself. And in a lot of cases it is. But again, when you have people's lives and, their livelihoods and everything that are affected by it, it's now becoming a situation where I'm building like plans for sellers too. Like, all right, so we're going to have to strategize and we're going to have to do this. Let's get you pre-approved by this date. Like, the house I have now, not coming on the market till next week, but we've been in talks for like over 6 months, just helping her prepare for this move, for this transition, making sure her job's locked in at, down in Atlanta, all this different stuff. There's so many moving parts, and it really comes down to who you're working with, who they know, what they're capable of doing, and all of that. And I tell my sellers all the time, when I do have a seller, just because you're capable of selling a home doesn't mean that you're financially capable of buying a home. And a lot of times they forget that too, because you can be sitting on a whole bunch of equity, but if you're not buying that house cash, you still got to get pre-approved by somebody. So maybe we got some credit repair we need to do. Maybe we have, what I'm saying? There's so many things that go into it, and it takes a lot more than just the decision that you're going to sell and you're going to move.
Okay, what do you think the specific challenges or issues buying in the summertime or selling
I
that
just
you've
think,
been running into?
well, this will be my second summer.
Hey, second summer, let's go.
I think the biggest thing is just that everybody looking, like school's out, it's warmer outside. Agents can do showings for longer times, in the wintertime at 4 p.m. it's dark and then people really don't want to go outside anymore. But now it's light until 7 or 8 p.m. So people are like, oh, let's show super late. So I think that those are kind of some of the big differences. But
I was thinking
it's
of,
hot. It's
yeah.
summertime. It's hot. Literally.
Leave your AC
Literally.
on in your car when you pull up to them houses.
Yes,
Because
Lord.
it be getting hot.
No,
It
for real.
reminds
And they
me
don't
of
have
my
the air on.
it reminds me of my Philly days
Oh Lord.
in the summertime, showing houses in Kensington and stuff.
Oh,
Getting shot at.
yeah.
Actually, Willenboro too.
Oh God.
Everybody's outside in the neighborhood.
Powerful nigga.
So some of the blocks, there'd be people outside with like speakers just blasting music down the whole block. You're like, what the heck is going on? And it's messed up. Say you sell a house in the wintertime, you don't know the neighbors are like that.
Mhm.
You don't know how they take care of their property. There might be snow on the ground. It's kind of hard to tell. In the summertime, you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
See everyone's true colors.
Because one house in Willenboro, they working on a car outside and they're blasting music, and then they like taking up the street with all the cars they got and everything. I'm like, oh, like, but at least as a buyer now you can see like what's happening.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, it's kind of hard to tell like what's going on with the neighbors and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's good for, like you said, it's good for parents and stuff like that. Or
Kids outside,
kids
playing.
that's outside. You want to see what the neighborhood's going to be like. Drive around at night. Teachers, if you're going to a new school district, see what kind of people you're going to be around and stuff like that. Like you said, you don't want to be the person that moves into the people next door that happen to loud parties all the time, and you got to grade papers all night.
Yeah, you gotta, and it's. I'm always shocked that buyers. First, they don't know the location they want to live. I think that's crazy. You should know the community. You should know what are they teaching in the schools? What's the school district rated? Like what's going on? And then if you know that you want to live in this town, now you can drive around. Now you can kind of like figure out, oh, well, this is the path to work. Oh, and this happens in the morning. And oh, this is how it looks like at night. Like it's a serious purchase. You should go out there and look at it. And you can't just rely on the agent like to know all that kind of details for a specific neighborhood all the time. Although that is a value add to an agent. But I mean, I think if you're buying a house, you should drive around and take a couple hours and go at different times. So
Yeah, for
And
sure.
to an extent, they have to do their own research anyway, because we're limited to
What we can say.
certain what we can say and different, we can't steer you guys from a certain area, or we can't, make certain comments or answer certain questions. And I'm giving y'all this look because y'all know the kind of questions I'm talking about, because y'all be asking them. We are not allowed to, say certain things. And so a lot of times, it's kind of off-putting, but we have a code of ethics that we have to uphold as realtors. And because of that, you got to do your own research, and it's your house. And if you guys are asking us our opinions, it's almost like,
yeah, it's very subjective.
It's very subjective because you paying the mortgage on the first. Like it ain't me. I ain't gotta lay my head here.
What if you are that neighbor that blasts your music and you don't
Right.
mind if your neighbor's blasting the
Exactly.
music?
I had a buyer like
Right.
that. She's like, I want a house where I go outside and they got the basketball hoop in the middle of the street because my kids gonna be out there too. Like
Out there hooping.
my
Right.
kids leave their bikes on the front lawn. Like I want to see that in the neighborhood.
Right,
And I'm
you
like,
can't judge
oh,
that.
really? But
Right.
me personally, I don't want that. So you ask me my opinion. Listen, if there was no code of ethics that we had to follow or subscribe to or anything like that, and I gave you my personal opinion, I may discourage you from a house that could have potentially been the perfect fit for you, or I could have shown you that maybe I wasn't the best agent for you just because we had different, different views or opinions or whatever, and we're allowed to as individuals. And that's why when it comes down to it, I'm just like, you gotta do your own research. You have to do your own, drive around.
Yeah, because you get the question, is that a bad neighborhood? And it's like, well, it's kind of a perspective thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
first of all, you can't really answer that question, but I mean, if you really think about it, if you're just talking to someone about a neighborhood, we have different lifestyles. We have different ideas of what bad and good is. So,
Right.
like, it's kind of hard to tell. It depends where you come from. And, like, you know, so
Some people are comfortable in their environment, and there's gunshots going off every night.
yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
that ain't a bad neighborhood. It's cool. Or, you know, I mean, people would say that. But
Because you're
someone else
used
might be scared.
because you're used to certain stuff. Like, because I'll tell people, I'm like, I'm from Camden, but if I grew up in Haddonfield, my opinion might have
is
been
going to
different.
be-
And it also goes for the condition of certain properties. Because I might
God.
I might turn my nose up at a kitchen, and I had to catch myself a couple times because I would have a buyer walk in the house and they're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing," and you don't think.
Yeah.
You don't know, their living situation. You don't know what they're used to. And so you kind of have to watch yourself because you don't want to say something that is going to be offensive to them or is going to, again, like steer them away from a home that could have been a good fit just because of the opinion of someone who isn't even on the loan. Like, and
Yeah.
that includes us guys. Like, y'all the ones getting the loan. It's your house. So with that being said, it's like, I'm here to advise you, not convince you. And I feel like I say
Right.
that all the time. Don't let me
Absolutely.
make the decisions because at the end of the day, you have to rest your head here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Squared Mo on Twitch. Is this a live podcast? Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Welcome.
it is.
We
What's
out here.
Welcome
We
on
out
Twitch,
here.
our first
Welcome.
Twitch viewer. What's going
What's
on?
going on?
Hey.
Shout out to you for not being a
Yeah.
ninja watcher.
Welcome.
I think-
If
yeah,
you're
go
a buyer and you are looking, or if you're a seller and you're looking to buy another house, there is a website called niche.com. It's niche.com, and it will give you the crime rates, the school ratings, and everything like that for towns in a particular state.
Nice.
So again, if you're looking in, again, like I said, if your agent's telling you to do your own research, it'll give you demographic information, crime rates, all that kind of stuff. Go in there, take a look. And again, like I said, it'll give you the preparation, like, all right, well, the school district here is good. Oh, okay, I can see that X, Y, and Z amount of people live in this town. This is a small town. There's 50,000 people that live here. You'll get to see all these stats about the individual towns in the middle.
Mm-hmm. And one more quick little tip, because Ryan trying to kick us off of here. I had a buyer who would be so excited to look at homes that they would show up at the property like 30-45 minutes early. And look, I ain't doing that because we not finna be sitting outside till our appointment starts. So I'm gonna pull up at the time that the appointment started. But they used to, if it was an unfamiliar area, they were relocating to South Jersey. So
Okay.
anytime we saw a home, a lot of times it was an area where maybe a friend or like one family member lived there. So they really didn't have too many opinions and they knew how limited I was. They would show up early, but they would go to the nearest grocery store or the nearest Walmart.
That's so
And that
smart.
would give them
What they needed to
the
know.
vibe or what they would drive by certain shopping centers, see what kind of stores are in the shopping centers, just different kinds of stuff would give you a good indicator as to whether or not it's going to be a good fit for you. So just 2 quick tips right there for buyers that are looking, in certain areas, maybe something that's not familiar, maybe you're relocating, whatever the case may be, but it's definitely possible to do your own research without having to, poke at your agent and try to get them to risk their license a little bit.
Go to your local Walmart
Walmart, not Target.
and just look around a little bit.
Go to Walmart.
That'll give you a good vibe of what's going on.
My-
With that being said,
Mhm.
If you have a Walmart and you don't have a Target, go somewhere else.
I think we had a fun time. All you ninja watchers, I'm very upset with you. You guys didn't talk to us nice at all, but
Hey.
hopefully this was helpful. We're always here to answer questions. Like and subscribe if you had fun. I do see we got a lot of likes and stuff on Facebook, so I appreciate you guys. Shout out to Ebony for always bouncing around.
That's our girl. We
Where's
love her.
Tina at?
Tina's
Tina's
busy.
out ready to buy furniture.
Hey.
Tina's busy.
Shout
we
out
have
to
some
Tina.
news.
Yeah.
Oh,
So can't spill in that. Oh, but yeah.
thank you,
Tina's busy.
Kaylin, for being on the show
Shout
today.
out to you, sis.
Yeah.
If you guys are in South Jersey looking for houses, you might work with Kay.
Mhm.
Yes.
Shout out to her. And Drew is doing your loan. Please don't
And
give me no
Drew's
pre-approval by
doing
somebody
your
else
loan.
because I'm a child. I'm sick of it.
We try to keep Drew short, but if you call him and ask about loans, he can go real long and explain everything, and that's real good.
in detail.
Hey, all the details. You're gonna know everything.
Everything.
All the details. He'll tell you about the loans, and he told Kev how to cook some ribs one time.
Let's
So,
go.
You know.
Yep.
We're gonna have a pancake class next week.
There you go.
Man, forget a closing gift. Bring
Oh,
the
God.
bring the baked mac and cheese.
I'm bringing the mac and cheese.
Stay
Listen.
tuned though, guys, because we have another event coming next month. We have the date already. I don't know if we're allowed to
No, we don't
put that
know.
out there. Plus,
Next
y'all ain't
time.
comment and tell us, who you are, so we won't even know who we talking to. So once we know who
Y'all
we
not
talking
getting
to, we can tell
info.
y'all, when and where and all that stuff.
Y'all
But,
can't get the mac and cheese.
y'all gonna have to miss
No,
out.
no, no.
Use your imagination, like these homes without staging. Good night, y'all.
Candace the realtor, Kevin on the producer table. Shout out to Kev. He looks real amused right now.
He's
Sorry
sick of
we
us.
went long, Kev. And I do still identify as a chocolate man, so that's it. That's all we
This is
got.
a sickness.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.